Late one night, as a downpour drenched the desolate road, a driver named Mark found himself navigating through the darkness. The wind howled outside, rattling the windows of his car. As the rain poured relentlessly, due to such heavy rain, visibility was reduced to a mere few feet. As Mark maneuvered through the storm, his eyes caught a flicker of movement on the side of the road. Straining to see through the sheets of rain, he gasped when he made out the figure of a woman, her soaked clothes clinging to her frail form. Compassion surged within Mark. Against his better judgment, he pulled over. The woman approached, her face obscured by the shadows and the relentless downpour. Mark could barely make out her whispered words.
Please, can you give me a ride?
Without a second thought, Mark opened the passenger door. The woman's presence filled the car. Her presence, unsettlingly cold and silent. Mark's mind raced with conflicting emotions, compassion, and a growing sense of dread that crawled up his spine. Trying to break the uncomfortable silence, Mark asked.
Where are you headed?
The hitchhiker's response came as a low, haunting whisper, barely audible over the storm.
Take me to my home, please.
Navigating the winding roads, Mark's unease intensified as he realized they were heading to an area known for its tragic history. Local legends spoke of a ghostly presence that haunted the vicinity. Mark said to the lady,
This area is not safe. Are you sure you live here?
to which she replied with a giggle.
Don't worry, I pass from here often. This is the road to my house.
The rest of the ride was filled with nothing but silence. As they approached the address provided by the lady, an old house stood alone in the darkness. The rain seemed to intensify, pounding against the car with an almost malicious intent. Mark's hand trembled as he turned to say goodbye, but the passenger had vanished, leaving behind a chilling void. Mark was left confused and speechless. She was here a second ago. Driven by curiosity and weariness, Mark stepped out of the car, his heart pounding in his chest. He looked around for the woman, but there was no trace of her. Feeling defeated, he was turning back to the car when he saw some faint traces of footsteps leading to the house. He started following the steps. As he reached the door, a chilling gust of wind howled through the air, rattling the broken windows and creaking the old structure. Summoning his courage, Mark pushed open the door. The flickering light from his flashlight illuminated fragments of the past, revealing a forgotten life frozen in time. He explored room after room, each one exuding an aura of abandonment and despair. In one room, Mark discovered an open, dusty photo album, its pages filled with memories frozen in faded ink. The photos depicted a young woman, her smile radiating innocence and joy, surrounded by a loving family. Yet, beneath the surface, a sorrowful feeling seemed to seep through. Mark realized that the woman in the picture was the same lady he gave a ride to.
So this is her home. How is she living in such an old and worn out house far from any civilization?
Determined to look for the woman, Mark stumbled upon a basement door concealed beneath a decaying carpet. The creaking hinges pierced the silence, and a cold draft surged from below, sending a chill down Mark's spine. With a hesitant step, he descended into the unknown depths. The basement was cloaked in darkness. Amongst the cobweb and discarded belongings, Mark discovered a worn, tattered diary. With trembling hands, Mark opened its pages, revealing a tale of tragedy and loss. The young woman, once full of life, had perished in a car accident on this very road, her soul forever tethered to the site of her demise. Besides the diary was a death certificate. When Mark saw the picture on the page, his eyes widened and his breath got heavy. It was the same woman named Emma. As Mark read the diary's final entries, a profound sadness overwhelmed him. The hitchhiker's desperate spirit sought closure, yearning for someone to bear witness to her untimely end. The encounters with the hitchhiker were not mere chance, but planned attempts to communicate her story and find peace. Mark decided to fulfill her final wish, to bring her tragic tale to light and offer her spirit the peace it craved. In the days that followed, Mark painstakingly researched the details of the young woman's accident and ultimately confronted her grieving family with the knowledge he had gained. However, to his horror, the family of Emma told him that she was abandoned by them after she wrongfully gave birth to a child, and in the fear of being caught, she ran her newborn baby over with a car. After being abandoned, she lived in the woods alone until one day the guilt got to her and she took her own life on the very road. Now she haunts the path, and whoever shows her compassion and gives her a ride, she returns the favor by showing her love to them the way she did to her child. She wasn't a lost soul, she was a curse, and Mark had cursed himself by giving her a ride home. Mark lived his life in fear until one day he passed away due to a tragic car accident. Yet to this day, whispers linger among the locals about the haunted road, a reminder of the power of compassion, the weight of lost souls, and the curse between the living and the dead. If you like this story, make sure to like and subscribe for similar videos. Take care and bye bye.